Okay, here we go. The Pen and Maggie Show.
He's about to get crazy and wild. Stay for a while. Don't touch your radio dial.
Pen and Maggie Show.
Kicking it back, sports talk. Listen to that and stay tuned for some giggles and laughs. Go.
It was just reported that famous celebrity cartoon actor Speedy Gonzalez was arrested early this morning by U.S. immigration officers. According to the report, Gonzalez was seen trying to elude the ICE officers' trap by running extremely fast while yelling in broken English.
Welcome to the Planet Mikey Show.
One of my favorites.
That's right.
Speedy Gonzalez. Rápidamente. Sí. Claro.
Now he works for the cartels.
Claro que sí. He runs across the border, man, with fentanyl. Hey, Bill Smith.
What?
Ben Kitchen.
Hello.
Mike Adams here. And guess what?
What?
We haven't seen each other in 3 weeks. Did you miss me?
Terribly.
Oh, yeah.
You lying sack
I thought
of
about
shit.
you every night, Mike. You met that picture I have of you on the wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is with the cowboy chaps?
That's the one.
By the way, you're both lying sacks of shit, but I love you anyway.
Come on
Yeah.
now.
This is birthday week, and we're brought to you by Pro Automotive of Webster and Dudley.
If you've got trouble with your car, truck, or SUV,
Pro
Automotive is who to see.
Pro Automotive.
You know, you should have more respect for the sponsor.
I love the
Play
sponsor.
that jingle.
All I do is talk about how great they are at Pro Automotive, and all they do is fix every problem I've ever had with any car I've ever had.
Because you know.
It's kind of
There's no podcast without a sponsor.
and we're going to get there soon. You know. Also, of course, my grandma's coffee cake's been with us from day one.
Yeah.
And every guest of the sports world.
Sports World, huh?
I know.
Rebranding?
I just lost 30 years of my life.
30.
Yeah. Actually, that show, Sports World, ended in 98, so 37 years ago. No.
27.
98. 27 years ago. Holy shit. Okay, so what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, my grandma's coffee
Your
cake.
grandma's coffee cake.
It's birthday week for a lot of people. First of all, Michael Jordan had his birthday yesterday. Today we're recording on the 18th
yeah.
of February. This podcast will drop on the 19th. That's a little podcast term I learned along the way. It doesn't. You don't issue it. It drops.
It drops nicely.
like a toilet nugget.
Like an egg.
Yeah, egg drop soup. You know what is that? Do ladies have to make that?
Yeah.
All right. So now, here's the thing. The birthday of Michael Jordan. Guess how old he is. Guess quick.
60.
Quick.
58.
2.
58.
63.
63.
No, he just turned 62. You're right. I didn't want to give you credit for it. Yesterday, he turned 62.
It looks good.
Of course, I had one conversation with Michael Jordan in my life. I told you that story, right?
Yep.
So I won't tell you again.
Yeah, don't ever.
No. I won't even tell you what Scottie Pippen said about you that day. He didn't like you, man.
He's an ugly jerk.
He is, man. His face looks like a bone, doesn't it? It looks like a foot.
He does look like he's should be on that missing link poster.
Yes.
Oh.
With a bone through his neck and angry about something. Today is the 18th of February. Let's see if you guess who has a birthday today. I know I've told you this.
I know that your birthday will air on the day this podcast
John
drops.
Travolta.
John Travolta.
Yeah,
exactly.
I knew it.
71 today.
That's it?
Yeah. And I told you when the conversation I had with him, right?
Yeah, you talked about which one of you likes banging dudes more.
No. See, that's where you're really.
And it was him by a hair.
It's by a hair. Sorry.
Come on now.
Listen, he was a nice guy. He was at the luxury box for the EI box, and I talked to him, and I said to him, "Look, you're one day older than me. You have planes, mansions, a career, millions of dollars. What did I miss?" And he laughed, and I said, "But I got a 3-year-old." That's when my son Willie was 3. That was back in 2013. And he was there for the playoffs. He goes, "I got a 3-year-old," and he pulls out his wallet. His phone. He pulled out his phone. He pulled out his phone. We're showing each other pictures of our 3-year-olds. Hey, we're one day apart. But he was also an old father. I was old when Willie was born.
Yeah.
I was like 56, something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought we were going to have an adult. But no, anyway, so John Travolta is 71 today.
Yep.
And the furnace is 50 years old today.
Sure
I love
sounds
that
it.
furnace though because it's so friggin' cold outside. The sound of heat sounds good. The actor Matt Dillon is 61 years old today.
Not Marshall Dillon.
Where's my shirt? Oh, here it is. Here it is.
On you?
Yeah, well, look at this. Matt Dillon, the actor from, all those 80s movies. He's 61 today. But my favorite Matt Dillon.
It's upside down, Mike.
Oh,
For
shit.
Christ's sake. Jesus,
I
can't you
don't-
do anything
I have
right?
never been on camera
My
before.
God.
Look at this.
Oh,
Can you
look
see
at
this?
that.
Yep, we can see it.
That's Matt Dillon. That's the guy. I think Tom Homan is the new Matt Dillon.
Oh.
He's Law and Order, man, and nothing's going to stop him from doing the right thing.
That's correct.
So anyway, the actor Matt Dillon, the one that got naked in the swimming pool with the two hot chicks in that lesbian scene in that movie, what was that called?
Wild Things.
Yeah.
He's 61. He doesn't do that
was,
anymore.
Nev Campbell and
Yes,
what's
yes.
the other one? She was married to Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Doesn't matter. Neither of us will ever see them again. Molly Ringwald, 57 today. Yeah. She's so old now. She changed her name to Molly Ringworm.
Okay.
I don't know why. Speaking of old, I met this lady at a mattress store, Vanna White, 68 years old today.
Still looks good.
She does look good.
She's a rail, though. She is so thin.
Yeah, well.
She turns sideways, she disappears. She takes off her clothes. It's like the unveiling of a golf club.
Rolls over in bed and she slices the sheets.
You know how old Yoko Ono is today?
Why no?
89.
92.
Wow.
Oh, she was like 7 years older than
She doesn't look good still.
Did she ever?
No.
So those are the people who were born on February 18th. Now, my birthday, and I looked at a list of famous people born on February 19th. I was nowhere on the list.
Really?
Ah,
Oh, Jesus. Mike.
but some people were. You want to know who they are?
You know, I have a feeling you're going to tell us who it is.
The Joker, the basketball player, Jokic. Is that how you say it?
Nikola Jokic.
Jokic, is that how you say it?
Yep.
You're not yoking around about that? He's 30 today. Seal, you know that song, that guy with it looks like a waffle iron face?
It says "Kissed by a Rose," but it looks like he was kissed by a hammer.
He's 62 today. Yeah, Tomorrow. He has the same.
Tomorrow.
You know who else has the same birthday as me? Smokey Robinson.
Smokey.
85 tomorrow.
We like Smokey.
And that pervert Prince Andrew. You know all about him, right?
who else?
65.
Former A's pitcher.
Oh, yeah. Dave Dave Stewart.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Former Red Sox outfielder.
Don't tell me the one my son announced when he did the Carl Bean thing at the stadium. It's
Probably not.
He's a left-handed hitter.
Yeah.
And he's an outfielder, and he wore number 19 on February 19th.
Josh Reddick.
Josh Reddick, yeah.
That's him.
Because my kid did the thing, where they let the little 5 or 6 year olds go up there and announce the player.
Oh, he did?
And my son's like, number 19, Josh Reddick, with Carl Bean, the late great Carl Bean. Anyway, so that's we've covered that I think pretty well.
Hold on, I gotta look up the best football player with your birthday.
And Smitty's birthday is coming up in 4 days.
Yep.
5 days.
Yep.
And yours is March. First. So we got this is where we're celebrating.
Like the birthday club.
the
got-
birthday club over
Off the top of my head, I have Chris Webber.
from your birthday.
Yep. Roger Daltrey
Yeah. So far, I hate them both.
and Justin Bieber.
I hate all three.
There you go.
So you join the club.
The Beebs.
We don't
hate Roger Daltrey?
No, I don't hate him. I guess he's sometimes he's annoying. He's a one-trick pony. He doesn't play any instruments.
When he swings that mic around,
Yeah, but he just sings. That's
he
all.
does.
He screams.
get that thing going on.
I will say, "My Generation" by the Who is one of my favorite all-time songs by anybody.
Why?
Because it's great.
No,
the bass,
Who?
The bass, John Entwistle on that song is like, it's like the lead guitar player, but he's on a bass. It's a great song. Rent it.
Rent it. When we go to the library and get a cassette.
You could. I like people who are so stupid that they call it a library. Where'd you learn that? I got a book at the library.
Where was that? In
Right. In Connecticut, they say New Britain. They don't say New Britain. New Britain. They go New Britain.
I think it's got to be a New England thing.
Okay, from a sports perspective, can we
Sports.
Huh?
Sports. Go ahead, Mike. Sports now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sports. Okay.
Sports.
Shoot.
And now some sports from Mike
And
Adams.
now, Deportes del Mundo con Miguelito. Let's talk first the oldest news, because we haven't done this in 3 weeks, and the fans were going nuts with me on Twitter saying, "Where's the pumpkin?" The Super Bowl, which
Going that far
sucked
back.
ass.
It was terrible.
It was so bad, and it was so, and everybody was saying, "I wish both teams could lose because I don't like either of them." And But the big news story about the Super Bowl was that they, for the first time in 5 years, they took the phrase "end racism" out of the end zone.
Yeah, choose
Now,
love.
I always think it's ironic when it's on the helmets and all this stuff in a league that is 57% black players.
That's it.
Yeah, 57%. But that's a lot. That's a high percentage.
Don't tell that to the NBA.
Well, no, right, exactly. But why do you have to have? First of all, end racism. Yeah, okay, yes, I agree. Racism should be ended.
Well, no,
from everybody.
It's done. That's why they took it away.
Okay, but
Racism's over. You didn't get the mail.
But having it end racism in a football stadium is just a reminder to people that 5 years ago we had the George Floyd thing, cities being burned down over the whole end racism thing, and when you end racism, it has to be done as an individual person. You can't say to the world, "End racism," and it's just going to end, because there are certainly white people and black people who are racist. It's not going to just suddenly end. It's an individual thing. It's a conscience thing. It's a brain thing. You have to end it in yourself. So why don't they just send out emails to everybody instead of putting it in the end zone? And then now they say, what was it?
Choose love.
Choose love.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that mean I can bang your sister?
Do you love her?
Do I have to?
Hey, by the way, I remember when we were discussing this, one of the things I brought up when Tom Brady started with his broadcasting career,
Yeah.
I was not hot on Tom Brady. I thought, he's out of his element. It's not going to work.
Really?
But you know what? It's just like everything else the guy does. He applies himself, and he
Tries hard.
I thought he handled the Super Bowl
Very well.
It was great.
You know, he's gotten really much better, and that's what happens with Tom Brady. You give him the opportunity to learn how to do something, he'll do it well.
And he keeps going till he's the best.
Yeah. I have no problem with him, achieving excellence in anything because he's not one of these guys that goes out and gets arrested or beat up. He marries supermodels, then she leaves him for a jiu-jitsu instructor. Yeah. Didn't Elvis's wife leave him for the karate instructor too? Didn't she?
Yeah,
I think so.
You're the Elvis.
Look it up. You're going to look it up. But during the Super Bowl, first of all, I didn't give a rat's ass who won. I ended up betting a little bit of money on the Eagles just to win outright. Mm-hmm. Yes, but I didn't watch the whole thing. The halftime show sucked ass.
Ben, he called me sobbing. He lost some money.
The money. About the halftime show. No, it was a bad halftime show. I didn't get any of that. What was he saying and why? Who are all these people and why is this guy famous?
He's one of the biggest rappers in the world.
He's very short.
He is very, very short.
So he's one of the
The
smallest
only song
rappers
I knew of his was that major song. I think it's called "Not Like Us," which was a dig at Drake.
But listen, I think it's such a major hit that you don't even know the name of it.
No.
I go, what? First of all, what? Why do I care what this guy's saying? I don't even know what he's saying.
Care what anyone's saying.
Exactly.
Any of the people doing halftime
Yeah, they
shows.
used to have all kinds of tremendous acts come out there. Didn't they have the Who?
They did.
Didn't they have Bruce Springsteen?
They did.
They had Whitney Houston?
They did.
Didn't they have Paul McCartney?
I don't think Whitney Houston did the halftime show. She murdered that anthem.
Yeah, but I mean,
Crushed it.
my point is, it should be someone who's so universally excellent
Prince.
and understood. Prince was great.
It was the best halftime show there ever was.
Yeah.
But
In the
no,
rain, he
instead
gives
they
shit.
get this
Purple
guy.
Rain.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, and with all due respect, some people must know and like, otherwise you wouldn't be there. But I'm thinking, I never heard any of his shit, and I don't care. And after watching the halftime show, I will never want to listen to any of his shit.
I thought it was mostly fine. It was legitimately
What was the
hard
message?
to understand.
Yeah, what was the message? Did
And
you get-
racism.
Yeah.
Really?
I heard
Can't
somebody.
they just write it in the end zone?
There was a woman on one of the networks. She said that she explained why everything he said and did was a positive message.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Sure.
But I would like to understand it to know that.
That was my first thought. Is that,
It's helpful.
If you put it in English, I would be able to decipher what the hell he's
But
doing.
it's just hard. It's hard to do a rap concert with that many people. It's really hard to understand it.
Yeah.
And I like rap, but it was legitimately hard for me to follow what the hell he was saying because I didn't know the songs well enough, except for that one song at the end.
I guess my point is he shouldn't have been on that in that format on that in that moment because he's not big enough.
But I will give him credit for one thing.
Literally,
Both.
He had memorized that whole goddamn thing, and no lip syncing. He was right on top of it.
Yeah,
It
but
was
everybody who
impressive.
does rap music has to memorize all these words, and
Yeah, but most of the time they don't perform it. When they're doing a rap concert, and I've been to enough of them from working at Jam, and most of the time there's that backing track that they're relying on to do most of it, and then they'll say like 3 words out of every sentence
Yeah,
as opposed to
great.
doing it
Yeah,
all.
that's great.
There's a couple of them who are great, but most of them suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's going to be, with AI. The new thing will be AI concert featuring, 3 words from this person spliced into a phony. I can't wait till they have robot French maids.
I think they have them already.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Clue me in then, okay? Because my house is a mess.
Ooh, la oui, Michael. Oh.
All right, so now Super Bowl news. Bill Belichick was there for the parties and with his 24-year-old girlfriend.
Yes.
Jordan Hudson is her name.
Did you see Bill with that smile on his face?
Well, that's because he sailed up to Hudson last week. The interest in the relationship is unbelievable because of the disparity.
Yeah.
72. Is he 72? He's born in 52. He'll be 73 in April.
Okay.
His girlfriend's 24, Jordan Hudson, and she's a cheerleader.
Was. She doesn't have to do it anymore.
Now, you don't know that she's not still doing it.
She's his personal cheerleader.
Shaking her pom-poms in the middle of the night. You don't know. But here's
You dog, Bill.
here's Snoop Dogg was on a show with him, right? Hosted by Snoop Dogg. Belichick and Jordan Hudson sit down for the show, and Snoop Dogg says, I've been a football fan a long, long time. I remember back when the Cowboys were good. I remember back when the Chiefs was bad. And I remember, what was it? Oh, Bill Belichick's girlfriend wasn't even born yet.
Oh, man.
Oh, right. Well, they're sitting there, but they were laughing, I guess. They got to understand that it's going to be part of the story is the 48-year difference.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Now they bring up the question: could wedding bells be ringing soon for Bill and Jordan Hudson?
It's got to be weird dating someone who's younger than your children.
Well, ask Mick Jagger, because everybody he ever has dated in his whole life was younger than some of his children.
That's true.
I think his oldest daughter is like 60 years old.
58.
58 years
Yeah.
older than
and he's got a 3-year-old.
55 years older than his youngest. That's fucked up. That makes you
Anyway.
look like a saint.
So she's got a ring on her finger, and they're saying, "Oh, this could be a ring where she's engaged to Bill Belichick." And then they look at Bill Belichick's finger; he's got 8 rings on. And they're like brass knuckles. Maybe that's how he keeps her in line.
That's a loser move. By the way. That's a loser move by Bill. Wear the 6 that you won as the head coach. You don't celebrate the ones when you were an assistant
Why
coach.
not?
Because nobody else does it.
But do you think for one second that Bill Parcells would have won either of those Super Bowls with New York if Belichick wasn't the defensive coordinator?
Probably. He had Lawrence Taylor.
But the defensive coordinator
He was great.
The
I'm
Giants'
not
defense
taking
was
that away
what
from
got him to the Super Bowl.
It's just nobody else does that.
They don't have 8 rings. No one else
nobody
has
else
them.
celebrates their rings when they were the assistant.
Okay, well, when you get 8 rings, you let me know if you're inclined to wear them all.
I only have 1. And I'm wearing it right now.
It's a nipple ring.
my fingers.
It's a nipple ring.
Lower.
You don't know. You don't have one of them, do you?
No.
Okay, I was going to say that's unbelievably gross if it is, and painful, I'm sure.
Unlike
Speaking
that
of-
tattoo of yours.
Speaking of sports, yeah, but I don't have to look at that or feel it.
Okay.
Speaking of sports, Alex Bregman. Now, Smitty's going, who? No, Smitty knows who Alex Bregman
The world knows who Alex Bregman is.
Do you, Bill?
Okay, let me ask you guys a question. You think he's getting what, $40 million a year for 3 years?
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Okay,
yeah.
2 opt-outs.
$40 million a year, and I don't hate the guy because he's a good player.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm going to tell you: the day when a 272 lifetime hitter gets $40 million a year. Now, he had some good years 4 or 5 years ago. He was a runner-up for the MVP, I think, in 2019. Hit 41 home runs. You know, the guy's a good player. He walks a lot. So he's a good eye. He gets a lot of doubles. And he did finally win a Gold Glove last year.
Yep.
But for the last 4 years, since 2019, his amount of playing time, or his injuries, I guess, games played, has been reduced. His production has been reduced. He's like a 27 home run, 90 RBI guy now with a 270, and he's hit under 270 for the last 4 years, which is very average, and he's getting $40 million a year. Comments?
It is ridiculous. I mean, last year he played a full season. Last 3 years he played full seasons, 156, 161.
Yeah,
but his average has
right.
dipped way down. His power is less than. How could you be paying someone who hits less than 30 home runs, who isn't like truly one of the greats of the game?
$40 million.
That's insane.
I tell you, this salary
but
thing.
they needed to do it.
Well, that's probably the only reason they had to pay that kind of money. But the salary thing has had me bummed out since. Really, David Price. I mean, it started earlier than that. When Manny got that big money, I thought, but that was nothing compared to what they're paying now. David Price, when he got $1 million every time he pitched, $30 million a year for 30 starts, and he sucked. But this Bregman thing, it just struck me as being, again, I'm fine with having him on the team. He wants to play third base. Rafael Devers wants to play third base. Maybe Rafael Devers moved to first. What do you do with Casas? Second and short, they got the injury-prone shortstop there, Trevor Story. Trevor Story. Can't we find a spot in the infield for Bregman that doesn't disrupt the mentality of their third baseman, Rafael Devers?
Yeah, it's called third base. Rafael Devers, you should DH. You're not a good fielder.
True.
You're not a good fielder. You already see, like, if Devers didn't have his massive contract, he's got I think this is year one of his 11-year extension.
Yeah.
For $330 million or whatever it is. You don't need to continue to play third base anymore. You've got the huge contract that's going to take you through the rest of your career.
For that money, you do what we say you have to do.
Just play DH. You would understand it if he hadn't gotten that contract because, a third baseman is going to make more than, in theory, a DH will. Just
but not if they can't field well.
I know.
That's a negative.
But either way, he has that huge contract. If you're the Red Sox running the team, I go, no, you're the DH.
Yeah.
This isn't your position. It's our position. And we're going to take the guy who won a Gold Glove last year. And even though he didn't win it before, he was still a really good fielder. We're going to have him do it
could
instead
he
of
play,
moving him.
Could Bregman play second base? Well, then they get that kid they wanted. They were
Christian Campbell.
They're promoting the shit out of him. I don't know. But I guess my point on this whole conversation is this. $40 million a year, right? You know how much that is per week? Better yet, if he's only had 27 home runs, I mean, he's driving in 90 runs. Where does that fit into, like, the future plans of all major league teams as far as value of a player? It's ridiculous.
They're skyrocketing.
It's awful.
They're skyrocketing.
You can't go back in time, but it's sort of like all this money has destroyed the charm of baseball. What originally it was.
Yes.
There was something about it. I don't know.
It's taken a lot of the luster off and the romantic aspects of why you love baseball out of my head. And I've been a baseball fan since the 60s and a deeply rooted baseball fan. But when I look at these guys, I can't put the same value on them, and it makes me not appreciate them nearly as much as the guys who did it for.
Because now it's hard to relate to them. In the past, you could relate to those older guys with their salaries, and they were. Yeah. I mean, they were paid probably more than the average guy, but
they definitely were. But and I've done it. I've looked at like whatever it is, Sandy Koufax salary in 1962, and compared to today's dollars, and it's like $2.5 million. It's not commensurate to what these guys are making. Those salaries have absolutely skyrocketed.
I remember when Raditz told me, he said, I was the highest paid guy in the Red Sox in 63. I even made more than Yaz.
Wow.
And he told me, and how much was it? $65,000.
and there it is. But you could relate to the guy, and he was normal. He knew what
totally,
it was like.
Appreciate it.
But TV is what blew that up. Well, paying all the money for TV, these contracts, that's what blew it up more than anything.
But if the owners, and this is not to say they should have, what's the word when you ally with people for evil? What's it called? Corrupt when they were trying to decide what are we going to do with this, because the salaries, the free agency thing is what really sends
Collusion? Is that what you're...
Collusion, yes.
Conspiracy?
I got to rub a little collusion on my taint just to keep the every medicine now. Have you ever noticed that all the new medicines say you might have some swelling of your anus and your perineum?
Yes.
It doesn't matter what medicine I'm taking. I have an earache. Okay, take this. Oh, my perineum. Why does it affect that part of your body?
It makes my taint hurt.
That's called a taint. And why do you call it a perineum when everyone knows it's a taint?
No taint.
Anyway, money, baseball. I lost my place. Okay, NBA All-Star Game. It wasn't a game. It was a bunch of little games for a bunch of spoiled brat players dancing around, and then in between everything they did, they brought out somebody. Oh, look, here's a famous person who's here, and Kevin Hart, cute guy, funny. Too much.
Way too much.
It is. It's
small doses with that dude.
Same thing
Those
with
are
that
the
guy.
only kind he can give you.
He's got a short temper.
It was terrible. It was terrible, and there's no one to blame but the players. They stopped giving a shit about the All-Star Game. The All-Star Game is supposed to be...
the best players against the best players.
Well, like the world's greatest pickup game. That's essentially what it's supposed to be.
Right.
You're supposed to get all these guys in that you don't normally get to see,
but let them play basketball instead of doing this douchey shit.
They've been changing the game because the players are such cunts that they keep saying, I'm not going to play that hard. It's an all-star game. It's not a big deal. It's a huge deal to the league. It's a showcase for the league.
It's stupid.
And they're just a bunch of assholes.
It's stupid. I didn't watch. I watched 4 minutes of it.
Charles Barkley called out Draymond Green about it. He was complaining about it, and he's like, "Your
Draymond
generation
Green
is
is
the one that
stupid.
stopped." Yeah, he is. Your generation is the one that stopped trying and made a mockery of the game.
It should be. It should be a showcase for their skills at basketball, not at running around. It being and 4 different teams. And come on, this guy's the coach of this team. No, East versus West or North versus South. Whatever you want to do. I don't know.
Do U.S. versus the world. In the NBA, you can really pull that off and actually have a competitive, fun game.
Or do it by height. Have 3 games. Only people under 6 feet, only people under 7 feet, and then only people over 7 feet. See how they dribble. Let's watch these guys try to take the ball down the court.
That's a creative idea right there, Mike.
Well, it's a height division. And by the way, basketball is a very it's a sport that is geared. It's not fair. If you won the gene pool and your parents were tall, then you're really tall. You automatically have a 100% better chance of ever playing the game at any level.
Yeah.
It's not right. It's discriminatory. They need a league for people who are really, really short, who can shoot, dribble, pass behind their back.
What else you got there,
Okay,
Mike?
we're still doing sports, aren't we?
Oh, we are. Yes. Hold on.
All right. There's
Sports. Now, more sports from Mike Adams.
There's a new McDonald's meal, and it's devoted to a WNBA player who's a bitch, Angel Reese.
Oh.
She is a nasty, face-scratching, fingernail-wearing bitch. She's nasty.
Oh, man.
And they named the McDonald's meal after her.
Oh, God.
Can't they find someone out there? There never was a Mother Teresa meal. Come on. She's a nasty. She hates Caitlin Clark just because she's white. That's not fair.
And got all the attention.
Well, but it's not fair.
You know why she got all the attention? Because she's much better than the rest of you.
She's great, and she's white. That's what they're saying. Is because she's white. But I don't care about black. If you're great, and Angel, try having a nicer personality, and then I'll be happy to try your McMeal at McDonald's.
No, I won't.
Okay.
Her Happy Meal makes you cry.
So, I was thinking about that song because my birthday's coming up, and I was gonna sing it tonight.
Oh,
because I like Sinatra.
yeah.
That song that goes, "When I was 17,
Oh, that was a very good year.
I didn't know if I was queer.
We know now.
I used to lie to buy my beer." But I was going to do that as a thing. Then I thought to myself, well, there's a lot of songs that deal with the age of 17. The Edge of 17 by Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, it's a good tune.
That one I just mentioned by Frank Sinatra. Yeah. It was a very good year. Starts off with mentioning when he was 17.
Beatles.
Janice Ian had
She was just 17, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, and Janice Ian had at 17.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for some reason, 17 is a lyrical staple of our society. What happened was, I think once they realized that the legal age of a consent is 17 in most states, Ringo stopped singing, she was only 16.
Or Sweet Little 16. Yeah.
She's 16, she's beautiful, and she's mine.
Yep.
Wow. Well, back then, 16 was, Puppy Love by Paul Anka. I think that was about a 14-year-old. And anything Jerry Lewis ever said was about a 12-year-old.
Oh, God.
Hey, lady.
Not just in songs.
Oh,
Anyway, but back then we could forgive that because we were 17.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Right.
So that was my point, I think, for the whole
Good, though.
the whole thing. So I went to Florida to see my friend Billy, my dear friend Billy, who's the greatest guy ever. And I was down there with I had a tooth problem because I had a serious molar, tooth number 20 for those dentists that listen to the show. And I finally had it pulled when I came back. But on the way down there, and Billy, God bless him, his dad passed away the day before I left for Florida. He was 98 years old.
Yeah.
And he was a great guy, very successful guy in the restaurant business. And so I went down there to help Billy get cheered up, and we played some golf, and we had a great time. But on the way, and I was concerned the whole time because there was a snowstorm scheduled for the day that I was due to fly back. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if you know this, but Worcester Airport flies JetBlue to Florida. Mm. And I, was unaware, and I had been always going to Logan, which is a pain in the ass, expensive to park,
just get
trafficy, yeah. So I found the flight to Fort Myers from Worcester, and that airport is so easy. You pull right up, you get out, you're there, boom, you check in, you're fast, there's no lines. You get on a plane in an empty runway. You don't have to wait for other planes to take off and get out of your way. I'm thinking, this is beautiful. I'm going to fly out of Worcester all the time.
It's really weird getting there, though. When you're driving there. Up the hills, and you're driving through neighborhoods. And you're like, there's no way a fucking airport is 3 minutes away from here.
Top of the hill, baby.
And it's right there. And it's like, whoa.
Now, on the way back, though, there was a scheduled snowfall. And I'm thinking, my flight's going to get delayed or something. And they don't have any other flights going back. And Billy says, these guys can land these things in any kind of snow. They're good. Billy's the voice of reason. Yeah. Okay, I'm worried. I'm checking all the forecasts. And, of course, it snowed right when I was landing, and it was snowing pretty good.
Yeah.
And you see what happened in Toronto, and you see the planes flipping over in Toronto where they know about snow and have snow and lots of flights. I'm thinking, oh, geez. But anyway, my flight, I got to tell you, JetBlue landed that plane. It was as smooth as any landing on any dry airport I've ever been on because it's a long runway in Worcester and it's empty. So they can come in and take a nice – it's not like in Boston where they got to come in from high up and land in a small area and not go into the water. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful airport, and it worked really, really well. So I'm going to fly out of Worcester all the time, and especially with my private jet. Wouldn't it be great to have a private jet?
Now, you bought a round-trip ticket?
Yeah.
What does a round-trip ticket cost from Worcester to Fort Myers?
It was like $271.
Really?
It was great.
Oh.
And I love the Worcester Airport now, although I will say that their souvenir shops are scant. Not a lot going on there. I don't even...
There's nothing in the airport.
If you want Dunkin' Donuts, you got to drive down the street and get it. But anyway, but I had a nice trip to Florida, played some golf. I played poorly, and Billy's wife, Kimmy, who's a doll, she played golf with us 2 days, and she beat me.
Oh.
And she broke 100 for the first time, and I had a bad day. She had like a 99, and she's the one who used to be a Patriots cheerleader.
Yep.
Little tiny thing. She's like Tinkerbell. She's very little, but she hits the ball straight, and
she's pretty,
lovely, and lovely. And I had a really, really good time as always down there in FLA, Florida.
So Billy's doing okay now, though.
Billy's doing well. He's great. He's a great guy, and he's doing very, very well.
His dad was 98, huh?
98.
Wow.
Yeah, Willie. His dad, Willie.
Billy sent me a picture of him and his dad. They were at the World War II Memorial in D.C.
He got to put the wreath on the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Yeah,
because he's served twice.
Was he playing the Doors while he did it?
I have a news item.
News?
Yeah.
Stand by, please.
You ready? Actually, 2. I got 3.
Now the news from Mike Adams.
I got 3, actually. This just in to our Planet Mikey newsroom. Hold on, maybe we get my spectacles. See, I'm getting old, man. I'm old now. According to this story, cocaine is no worse than whiskey. And it's only illegal because it comes from Latin America, said Colombian President Gustavo Petro during a live broadcast of a government meeting. I wonder why he cares so much about cocaine. Is it because it's their number one crop?
Also, perhaps he's gotten used to it, if you know what I mean.
He likes it.
He just likes the smell.
Yeah, that cocaine's a hell of a drug. It's, by the way, 25 years since I've even seen it. I don't do that anymore. I had a moment. Colombia is the world's biggest cocaine producer and exporter, mainly to the United States and Europe, and has spent decades fighting against drug trafficking. Yeah, sure.
You had a moment of clarity.
Yeah.
That's what you
25 years ago.
Yeah.
During a 6-hour ministerial meeting broadcast live for the first time ever, the leftist president said, quote, cocaine is illegal because it's made in Latin America, not because it's worse than whiskey.
Oh, I see. So that's like he's playing the race card here?
Can I tell you, I used to drink whiskey when I first started drinking as a 12-year-old. When I was about a teenager, 18. I used to drink Ward 8s.
Yeah.
Now, Ward 8s, I believe, are named after a district, a voting district in South Boston. Whiskey. And Ward 8s is grenadine, a splash of grenadine, lemon, it's like a whiskey sour that's colored pink. And I used to drink those all the time, man. Whiskey. No problems. Cocaine, on the other hand, very, very bad for you. It doesn't have a shutoff switch, and thus it makes you a slave to it for a while.
Yeah.
It's a terrible, terrible drug. Terrible drug. Of all the drugs that I've taken in my life, that one's the one that's the most deadly.
Plus, it's nature's way of saying you make too much money.
Scientist Savannah, cocaine is no worse than whiskey. He added, suggesting that the global cocaine industry could be, quote, easily dismantled if the drug were legalized worldwide.
Oh, there you go.
Well, no, his gross
how that
national
works.
His GNP would just triple, because he could just ship it out by the post office. Anyway, I thought that was a funny story because I disagree with it completely.
Doesn't pass the sniff test.
Cocaine is very, very, very bad for you. Don't ever do it.
And now more news with Mike Adams.
A migrant transgender woman wanted by federal immigration officials allegedly stalked and raped a boy in Manhattan this week, according to the New York Post. Nicole Suarez allegedly followed the 14-year-old into the bathroom of a bodega across from a park in East Harlem and attacked him. The boy then left the bathroom, flagged down witnesses who alerted the police. Suarez, 30, who's originally from Colombia, which is where you get cocaine from. He probably was on cocaine. Was arrested nearby the following day and charged with first-degree rape. He was wanted already at the time of his arrest in New Jersey and Massachusetts. Do you think we let him out first? God, if we're going to let out criminals, we want to be first. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, had a detainer on her. It's a transgender guy who says he's a her who raped a boy.
Oh, I've seen that picture of him with his
ugly
all his makeup.
Man. Priscilla Presley. That's what he looked like. In the after picture.
I see. Oh, yeah.
Jim Acosta, a former CNN host, this is another news story, has publicly called for media outlets to band together in a boycott against the Trump administration.
Oh, isn't that nice? Jim Acosta, at least he's consistent.
Because the last thing in the world that Trump wants is Jim Acosta anywhere near him. He hates him. This response comes after the White House implemented restrictions barring the Associated Press from key areas like the Oval Office and Air Force One. But you can't cover the president using the pool feed.
No, he's butthurt now.
You got to be there in person. It's all on TV, everything he says. Anyway, this was amid disputes over geographic naming conventions. Now, what do you think of the Gulf of America? What are your thoughts about that?
I heard that the reason he changed it was because Biden set something up where he couldn't drill in the Gulf of Mexico. So Trump says, okay,
I'll change the name.
Now, like, the Gulf of America, which I kind of like.
I do too. Yeah. Hey, listen, with all due respect to Mexico, what do you think is more important in this Western Hemisphere? America or Mexico? Ben, go ahead.
America.
I knew he was going to say that, so I kind of set him up. Anyway, I got to clear my throat.
Are you okay there, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm fine. Time now to check into the hotel. You ever ring those bells?
Oh, yeah.
Desk clerk. So we've had an interesting podcast, I think. It's been a fine podcast.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, it's been one of those podcasts that easy to listen to. First one in 3 weeks.
Especially, after a 3-week hiatus. There you go.
I was a little backed up musically, but I been thinking about the Commonwealth and John Featherston's new podcast, All Politics is Local, which I was a guest on.
I saw you.
Yesterday.
I was there yesterday. I watched you, and that was pretty damn good.
And it inspired me to bring back an old Bee Gees tune with Joe and Jerry as the performing artists in their rendition of a song about the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So are you ready for this? You guys ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Joe, Jerry. Joe. Jerry. Joe. Taxes going up in Massachusetts, Joe. Something's telling me I must change my home. Heat and lights, they all cost more now in Massachusetts. Can you believe it? 'Cause Maura Healey can run everything on her own. Jerry? She should hitch a ride, Joe, to San Francisco. Really? So she can do all those things she wants to do, that commie. And all the migrants will come and visit us in Massachusetts, true. 'Cause Maura Healey will send all the bills to me and you. Sanctuary life in Massachusetts, Joe. Here's your free home and every single meal. 'Cause the Democrats still rule in goddamn Massachusetts, truth. And the massholes wish they'd all voted for Jeff Deal.